Word up, Georgia Japan here with another culture video. You ever hear of KiraKira names? Or how'd you translate that? Shimmering names, glitter names, sparkling names, shining names. Anyway, KiraKira names are, well, unconventional names, which is a practice which has been growing in popularity in Japan since the 80s. I guess this isn't limited just to Japan. I guess people around the world want to give their kids kind of unusual names. But in Japanese, they get an extra layer of fun because they get to use kanji. KiraKira names might take a conventional kanji and give it a new reading. They might give kanji to a name that's not Japanese, or they might just jumble together a whole bunch of other kanji to make something. The reason I'm talking about this is that last week I was watching a special on this guy named Oji-sama, which translates to prince. And he was talking about all the difficulties he had growing up having a KiraKira name. He's 18 now and he was able to finally change his name. Anyway, I thought it was kind of interesting to share, and it reminded me of another story, quite possibly the most famous example of a KiraKira name. The parents that wanted to name their child Akuma. And no, they weren't huge Street Fighter fans or anything. This happened back in the early 90s, and for whatever reason, these parents wanted to name their child Akuma, or Devil. And this gained a lot of media attention because, well, naming laws in Japan just state that you have to use Japanese characters. And you can't use these like forbidden kanji. Some examples of forbidden kanji would be like hemorrhoid, feces, or cancer. I don't know why anyone would want to use these kanjis in their child's name, but the fact that there's a list of forbidden kanji means I guess some people have tried. Anyway, the parents stated that the kanji for Akuma is not forbidden kanji, so legally they have the right to name their child this. They fought with the Japanese government, but thankfully for the child's sake, the Japanese government decided that it would be detrimental to the child's future to have the name Akuma. And a compromise was reached, and they settled on the name Aku. They chose the kanji A, which can mean Asia or another, and Ku, forgot what that one means. It means this. But if you separate the kanji radicals in Ku, you can get horse, which can be read as Ma, and you get division, which can be read as Ku. So it's kind of sneakily, you could read it, I guess, as Akuma, kind of. I can't understand why the parents would want to name their child this, but I guess crazy people just do crazy things. Name is a really important thing. It's like the first gift parents give their children. I know in my case, we spent a lot of time thinking about the names of for our children. We spent months thinking on the names before finally deciding on Dio and Dina. I left the kanji selection to my wife. But for us, I guess the big concern was picking a name that would be kind of international. Initially, we were actually thinking about using Rey and Leia. But once my wife found out that I was actually referencing Star Wars, I was no longer allowed to submit name proposals. But I did get to decide their middle names, which are totally in English. My name is George. I guess George is a pretty popular name, but I never had another George in my in my age group. Always in school, I was the only George in school. And yeah, as a kid, I didn't like it. I was teased. I was like, oh, hey George, you cut down a cherry tree? That's George Washington. Hey George, where's the man in the yellow hat? That's Curious George. Hey George, no new taxes? That's George Bush. Come a chameleon. That's Boy George. You're a monkey. That's Curious George. As I got older though, I started to like my name. I liked being the only George in school. And I really do like Curious George now. I read that to my children. And they're like, oh, it's Daddy. And like, yeah. Anyway, I guess that's about all I got to say. Thanks so much for watching. Have a glorious day.